evening, everybody. No guesses, no prizes for guessing what David's paying tonight. Yeah, good evening. Welcome to another hobby live stream Thursday night, as usual. Got myself a little tipple tonight. So cheers to everybody out there in YouTube land. Because I'm on holiday from work, so I don't give a damn. So yeah, hello. For those of you who are new, welcome to the show. Let's do the first order of business is to give the old chat a shout out. I was just about to say, I think we've only got 2 in tonight. We've got some dude on YouTube, also known as Tim. We've got Darren, also known as Demon Sub. Check him out on Instagram. We've also got, because of Ben, stroke Crispin. Good to see you, Crispin. So yeah, welcome to those guys. Now then, over the next couple of hours, we're going to follow our usual format. We will show you what we're going to be hobbying on, because this is a hobby live stream. So that's what you should be doing right now. Not sitting with your feet up, eating junk food on the sofa, watching just casual YouTube. Get the hobby gear out, crack on, get this shit done. That's the idea. Hola, cheese me. So yeah, and then we will have a chat about our gaming over the last week. We had club night on Monday night, and we also have a little bit of a gaming session on Saturday at David's, which we will tell you something about, but perhaps not so much, he said cryptically. After we've done that, we've got
news. Not that there's much this week.
Not so much news, really. I don't know if it's because I've been on holiday from work and I've just been basically loafing around and enjoying myself, and I haven't felt the need to consume much YouTube. But most of the shit I've watched on YouTube is just like negative vibe GW shit, like, because that's all I get fed now. YouTube just seems...
Because you're a salty old man.
I don't know if YouTube's watched the stream, but all I seem to get fucking fed is "we hate 40k" videos. I'm leaving 40k and playing Malifaux. These rules are all shit in 40k. Why is 40k? So it's like, yeah, okay, yawn. So I won't share any of that. But I did, funnily enough, the video I've got to share you is in that vein, but it's not as negative as some. And I've liked the pitch. It was different. So Tim's got his feet up. Now then, I know Darren's already shouted out his hobby. He is, because Darren is a machine, painting a puka from Reaper Minis for Forbidden Psalm this evening. The same one I started in Tim's show on Tuesday. Well done, mate. Fun miscast videos. What do you mean miscast videos? Like, is miscast a channel?
Question mark?
It doesn't ring a bell with me. Or do you mean they're fun videos about miscast models? Seems a strange one. Please feel free to. Yeah, do you know what I mean? I've got to, cheese me. I need to watch more positive content. It is a channel. Okay. Right, okay. Well, in that case, then, Darren.
Consider that recommended.
Yeah, consider that recommended. I will have a quick look at that later. In fact, I might. Things may glitch out, guys. I am just going to go to Miscast's YouTube channel as we speak. But my potato PC doesn't like opening new browser windows. So things may go wrong.
Glitch.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Got it. Miscast. 163,000 subscribers. Okay, that looks...
Just a little channel, then.
Yeah, that looks really interesting. Wow. Interesting thumbnail. Are those face tattoos real or were they temporary? That's nuts. Ooh. Yeah, this looks quite cool. I will have a look at that. Good shout, Darren. Thank you for that, mate. Right. So then, matey, do you want to go first?
Yeah, fuck it, why not? Come
Okay,
on down
so-
to the desk.
Obviously, we all heard David's bloody impression of a worm, so no prizes for guessing what he's painting. Where are we? David's tabletop. Go, mate.
Fucking look at this one coat coverage from the TT Combat
Whoa,
paint.
whoa. Okay, what's happened there? Just, what is going on? Technical difficulties!
Tick your bingo card, boys
Check
and girls.
your bingo card, everybody.
I think we should get that printed on a t-shirt.
Right, okay. Try that again. This time not with a...
Is she working now?
There we go. Should be working now. I can see it, and I'm not just getting a blank yellow rectangle, which I did a minute ago.
Look at that one coat coverage from TT Combat.
Tim says he likes the stuff he makes, but the way he does the videos makes him want, and then he leaves it to to restrict his airflow. Yeah, that, to be fair, if the previous comment that YouTube ate was about want to strangle him, I think that might be, That
might have had something to do with YouTube restricting the content. So yeah, I have 60 odd worm minis to paint.
So you've done your base, you've done your skin tone, and you've just zenithal a highlight, haven't you? So can you show that off?
Hang on, I will in a second. I've just caught him. Let me wash the metallic off the back of his head, because I've just caught him because my brush control is shit because I haven't picked up a brush for over a month. Let's see if I can find a decent zenithal. Here we go. Let's go with Einstein. Let's turn the lights down low. Does that zenithal come out?
Yeah, just about, to be fair.
But you said the other day these look way better in person than they do on screen.
When I saw them at club, they did look very, very much different. The colour palette is very different in at club. Cool, mate. So...
Zenithal everything, started painting worms.
Oh, wow, little Uzi, that's so cool.
The most annoying thing is going to be painting all these faces.
Why? What, you mean all the eyes and stuff?
Eyes, teeth.
Yeah.
Let me find probably what's going... You've got a choice of two favourite miniatures, Paul.
Yeah.
Here's what I think you're going to vibe with. Worm wearing a samurai hat.
That's pretty cool.
I'll tell you what you might vibe with even more. Worm doing the karate punch with fire.
Oh, Hadouken!
Hadouken.
That's a street.
David, drill the barrel. How about now?
Oh dear, that's funny.
I've got over 60 miniatures to paint. Let's get fucking going.
Yeah, I to be fair, do you know what? I can't argue with that sort of sentiment. When you've got a ton of work to do, just crack on and get it done. Talking of just cracking on and get it done,
let's go see what you're doing.
As my basing went so well last week, basically that's what I'm doing. Basically basing. That's
You're basically basing again.
Yes, that's what I'm doing again this week. So I have basically got my armada.
Can we stop saying basically?
No,
basically
I can't. I have my armada miniatures. This is the Salamander Drake, or actually I think when you put the shield generator on, it becomes the named one that's more expensive, but I tend to run the Drake profile, so sue me already. I'm quite pleased with the little, I don't know if you can pick it out, but like the Starfield type look I got on there with stippling. It doesn't come across very well. It's all a little bit dark. Can we get more light on it? Does that work without... It's probably completely washed out now. But yeah, pretty pleased with that. Pretty pleased with how the elemental came out on the prow. So I've made a start. What I'm going to do is be putting Vallejo Dark Sea Green on the base as an undercoat. Then I will be stippling on just a little bit of blue-grey, just for some interest. And that will be what I would plan to get done tonight on stream. I have 4 to do, so that was the Drake. Then we've got the starter fleet, so this is the Tyrant, which is the biggest of the 3 in the starter box. Really, I mean, predictably for me, I'm really loving this sort of like Far Eastern Dow style of ship.
See, I'm not a fan. They look nice on table.
Yeah, I really
it
like
fits
them.
their theme, but I just don't.
Yeah, as I say, I really like this look. It's right up my street. That gold was a pain in the rear end to do.
Barrels must be drilled or else they can't shoot. Well, fucking sue me, because we'll come to fucking worms after. I had a bitch and moan last week. I'm going to have another one this week.
Thanks very much, Darren. As I say, these were just... there's literally like they're 4 colour base coats and a bit of Agrax. The sails could probably do with highlighting back up because they're a bit brown when they could be cream. But do you know what? I'm very much at this point in my painting career. I'm very much a base coats and get it done sort of guy.
Where's Ewok when you need him for the favourite colour?
It was actually it was dark sand I did, and I'm not putting any fucking Russian uniform or Iraqi sand.
Do you want to know the best thing? I've just picked up Russian uniform.
Yeah,
I've got landmines to paint.
I think this will be a relatively low salt episode, Cheese Me. We'll see how it goes.
Spam, I believe, is sorting out her new house.
Because she has moved, has she not? Have you got her fully moved in, mate? Is all of that done?
Pass.
Russian uniform, yes. We're not using any Russian uniform, not on these.
I'm using Russian uniform on landmines.
Yeah, you see, David's in the Russian uniform. Are you going to be using Iraqi sand as well, mate?
I don't know.
I think you should put the extra effort in. Use that Iraqi sand. Right. Let's get paint on a brush and do this like we mean it.
I want a fucking bigger brush.
So, what did we get up to on... Should we do Club Night first? Should we do Club Night first?
Yeah, let's do Club Night first.
You might be saying, Paul, why are you painting your Armada that's been sitting on your hobby desk for many, many months? Hiya, Pandy! Welcome, Paul, from Pandyman Entertainment in the chat. No Iraqi sand tonight, mate. Don't include me in that, Tim. I can't afford a house. Where am I? Club Night. Pudding! Oh, no, not that one. I nearly spoiled it.
Did you spoil things?
I think I nearly spoiled it. You might be saying, Paul, why are you
painting your Armada that's sat on your desk for over 12 months?
So, do you know, it's funny you should ask that. Because on Monday, I played a game of Armada against Alex. Alex brought his, I believe they're Norse or Northmen. I don't know what the official name of
the North. They're the Northmen.
Northmen is the official name, is it? Obviously, they're Viking themed. And we had a fan-bloody-tastic game of Armada. As is always the case, I was left thinking, God damn it, this is another game I need to play way more of than I actually do play. We played, I think it was Scenario 9 in the main book. The
War Treaty one.
It was fantastic. It was for those of you who don't know, it's a fantastic.
To be fair, I haven't played that scenario yet.
Do you know what? It's a really good scenario. So, for those who don't know, the scenario, you start with one of your ships and one of your opponent's ships. All of your ships start at anchor. You have 2 ships back to back at the top north edge of the map, I'll call it, and facing.
Everything else is in the south, and
Facing stern, or not facing each other, but stern to stern. Then everybody else's fleets are in the southern corners of the map. So, and you're diagonally opposite your other ships, so that when you're...
If you're in the northeast with your boat, you start in the southwest.
Correct, yes, with the rest of your fleet. And then basically, whichever... You have to choose one of your ships from your list that is... one of your boats, Tim, from your list that is a main battle ship. And its movement stat gets reset to 4, and it ignores all wind penalties and any movement modifiers from other game effects. So essentially, you've got a ship that can only move for, and they default to, I think it's the red movement, the red steering template. Whatever their default is, they get the red template. And the idea is it represents 2 ambassadorial ships having shall we say, negotiation. Then things go south and everything kicks off. Those ships flee away from each other, and then the other ships get into a bit of a scrap. And the main scoring point is you get your ambassadorial ship, which is on the north edge, off the southern edge of the map, 6 points. First player to get it off scores 6. Then it's other victory points for sinking. You get like 3 points for a large.
This is the German Coast Guard. What are you thinking about?
You get 3 points for sinking a large or taking out a large ship. You get 2 points for a medium,
XL.
1 for a small, etc. And it's a really good scenario. We had great fun with this. I got off to a really bad start and managed to run my bloody ambassadorship aground. The scenario also said that terrain should be placed across the center of the map. All terrain goes across the center of the map with roughly 8-inch gaps between. So that is why we've got that row of islands placed centrally. So as you look at the screen now, on the left is the ambassadorial ships. This is at the start of turn 2, I think. And then everybody else's fleet is on the other half on the right, just kicking in, just getting into the mix a bit. And basically, these 2 Norse ships headed my Tyrant off, which is a ship of mine you can see up on the upper left. They managed to head it off and grapple it and start kicking. These Norse ships are ridiculous in close combat. Oh my god, I was so lucky not to get wiped out by boarding actions several times during the game. But they board...
I'll tell you what does outpace a Norse ship, though.
What? A dwarf dreadnought?
Dwarfs with guns.
To be fair, the salamanders play fairly shooty. But geez Louise, the boarding actions were a nightmare. But yeah, basically those 2 ships boarded me. I made a run for it because they were facing the opposite way. So I took my damage, ate it like a man, and then legged it. But then managed to run aground on that central island that you see on the table there. And of course, that was it. My chances of scoring 6 points up in smoke as I crashed into as I ran aground and became stuck for the entire game.
A poor admiral blames his boat.
So that was bad. So I got a bit disheartened. I think that happened in turn 2. But do you know what? I kept playing. I kept going for it. And the Norse ship, that I don't know the names of the Norse ships. You'll have to, the Northmen ships. You'll have to bear with me. But yeah, when that came down towards my corner of the board, I just managed to batter it into submission and got it to surrender. So as the game turned out, I went from a very pessimistic, oh shit, I've lost this on turn 2, to actually I won in the end, simply because because I was disabled by running myself aground and technically wasn't either surrendered or sunk, I actually scored the only points in the game by surrendering his largest ship. So by an absolute fluke, I managed to win it in the last turn because it's capped at 8 turns. Basically, at the start of turn 8, we worked out all of the movement and that, and Alex had no way, because literally my tyrant that had run aground, if he could have done, I don't know, about 5 or 6 points worth of shooting damage on it, he would have forced a nerve test and could have easily equaled the game up. But he just couldn't. There was no way for him to maneuver his ships into a position where they could get the shots off with just 1 turn's worth of movement remaining. But yeah, fan-bloody-tastic game. It was really, really good fun. And again, I can't wait to play more Armada in future. What about you, mate?
I introduced Luke to the game I am painting right now. So we played a demo game of Worms. And then after we played a demo game of Worms that took about, 45 minutes? Including setup and teardown and explaining the rules for his very first game. We played Tindaya. Officially harder than Arkham Horror. Because I've played 4 times now and I still haven't won.
On the easiest difficulty setting.
Yeah, we don't talk about that.
Yeah, it's a fairly brutal board game. So you basically had a bit of a board game night again.
I did.
Yeah.
Just fancy something a bit different.
And so Worms
more Dakar.
That wasn't your first game playing Worms, was it? Because you'd actually played it with Sam, I think, hadn't you?
I played it with Spam. I played it with my lad and my mum and dad.
Your mum and dad as well?
Yes.
What did they make of it?
The mum was confused by it. Dad quite enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Dad can see why it was sort of Worms inspired because, again, he's a bit of a geek. He used to play the Worms, etc.
That was going to be my question. Was your dad familiar with the computer game? I didn't know whether he was a gaming computer person.
But Oscar, my little boy, who's never played Worms on the computer, started playing the board game and absolutely loved it. Bless him.
Brilliant. So basically, all your games have gone down really well with the people you've played it with.
Yes.
Yeah, and you've tried it with a good range. I mean, what have you got? Children from the age of 8, 9?
Yeah.
Right up to your parents?
Yeah.
So, cool. Boats need more Dakar.
Cheese me!
Boats always need more
Has yours
Dakar.
turned up yet?
Yes, you were waiting on yours, weren't you, mate? Isn't every Worms game a demolition game? Oh, yeah, but I see what he did there. I see, very clever, Tim. Demolition.
We bow down to your German superiority.
He's not called Pun Dancer for nothing, is he? So yeah, on Saturday, David and I got together for a little bit of gaming. But
well, no, we didn't get together for a little bit of gaming, did we, sir?
Well, we did. We
got together for a little bit of game development.
Yeah,
game development.
So we played. We played this little game.
Do you want to go back to the twin scene? Rather than still be staring at ships.
No, we want to be staring at this. This is why I've stayed on it, because they're in the same slideshow. Cheese Me's update on the Kickstarter says his Worms should be here soon. Okay, mate. Fingers crossed for you, buddy.
Kickstarter says soon.
So what David and I have been tinkering around with at the moment, this is very early alpha development, but basically we've got a small.
Is it even alpha? Is this like neutrino development?
He might have a thing. He might have an idea. He might have a point there. This is even less significant than an alpha particle.
This is pre-alpha.
Yeah. Um. This is not even not even demonstrably matter. It's merely electromagnetic radiation with zero mass.
It's got some gravitas behind it, though.
So yeah, we're currently
All the science puns.
we are currently developing what is probably going to be cyberpunk style themed small scale miniatures game with a focus on we're focusing it very much on interaction within environments. So what you can see here is the tenfold dungeon terrain laid out on a standard gaming map, with some extra detail bits from David's
catalogue,
David's collection for things like terrain and that sort of thing. So as I say, we spent quite an enjoyable. To be honest with you, my idea was we were going to just piss about with this for a couple of hours and then do some proper gaming. But actually, we managed to drag this out to fill out the whole evening, didn't we, mate?
What was it? 4 hours?
Something like that. Which is good in one way, because we were actually enjoying developing and messing about with it. So we do plan. Obviously, this isn't a mega state secret. Somebody just said Yellow Belly on Kickstarter soon. No, I don't think so, Cheese Me. I think if we do get it to the stage where we're happy to share it with the world, I'll probably throw a PDF up somewhere online where pay what you want sort of thing. I have no
game involved or something like that.
Yeah, I have no illusions that David Nye's
grandeur.
Yeah, I don't have any delusions of grandeur that David Nye's inane tinkerings will become the next big thing and be marketable to the nth degree. I may change my position on that, but at the moment, I'm just enjoying it, because in a way, there's an element of putting our money where our mouth is. We sit here and we
bitching and moaning and salting
without putting it quite so negatively, but we're not shy about offering our opinions. I'm certainly not shy about offering my opinion about game design and the way things are done in other games. And do you know what? Perhaps I need to put my money where my mouth is, actually go through the process myself and see just how difficult it is and how much work's involved.
Who said the terrain looks very nice? Darren, the majority of the terrain, obviously all the cardboard stuff is tenfold dungeon. What did we pay for that? About 40?
40-ish, give or take. I think we got a reduction because wasn't it damaged?
No, I think it was being fire sale because they didn't want to take it home on the final day.
Basically, yeah, we bought it on the last day of UKGE from one of the retailers. And we both looked at that because we'd had this game sort of in the backs of our minds for a little while, and we were like, oh, that might be quite cool to use as like development terrain. It's all pre-painted and pre-finished. It gives us our interior layouts that we want.
And then just add scatter.
Yeah.
3D printer goes brr.
Paddy says copyright strike. Why is that the cyberpunk thing? Yeah. Do you know what? My biggest struggle, Pandy, is that I think cyberpunk best fits the game mechanics. I think if you were to try and do anything else with it, it might seem a little bit off. Although I was thinking about putting how we could fantasy theme it. But
look, Paul, that's the expansion. Let's not go there right now.
But yeah, that's a whole. I mean, again, just from having dabbled with a little bit that we have dabbled with, I do respect totally. You learn to respect people who do game design, because there's a lot to think about. There's a hell of a lot to think about, and we go through so many different things. Pandy says I am damaged. I see what you're saying. And so, like, emotional damage doesn't. Apparently, emotional damage is not discountable. Tim says. So yeah, that's what we did on Saturday night. Now, as I say, we are hamming it up a bit. There is no massive state secret to all this. What I do intend to do is when we get further along with the project, I did say to David we could perhaps do a live stream which was like a development diary, and sort of like talk you through, you know, all the different processes and steps and thinking that we went through to get where we are. Because again, I think it'll be quite interesting for you guys to share the journey.
Again, as we
Evening,
work on it,
Toros.
we might do some more teasers.
But yeah, so yeah, that's what we did Saturday. It's our, I guess, to be fair, again, to be candid with everyone, that was our second serious development session. Well, I suppose third, wasn't it? The first time we got together was literally just blue sky thinking and sticking ideas, writing ideas down, wasn't it? Then we did a quick sort of like scuffle at mine, just using the tenfold dungeon stuff with no extra terrain elements and no real, you know, no interior, exterior.
Interiors.
And this
dialed in the dice mechanic, didn't we?
Yeah, to be fair, we didn't even have necessarily we didn't really have an objective at that point. It was literally just raw mechanical testing. And then this was more what I would call a proper game, where we came up with a defined objective and, you know, a real game to play, if that makes sense. But yeah, it was, even if we say so ourselves, which perhaps we shouldn't, we enjoyed it. It was good fun. And it gave us a lot to think about and a lot to develop on. So yeah, that's it. That was what our week was so far, which is great because we've managed to waste so much time on that. We don't even need to worry about the fact that there's virtually no news to share with anyone. Because YouTube just keeps feeding me negative shit. The only thing I want to share with everybody this week is this video from Let's Talk Tabletop. Now, I really like this chap's videos. He does these 10-minute, 15-minute talking head things, and it just sort of offers little opinion pieces. You know me, that's the kind of stuff I love. And this one is just to remind everybody that there is nothing wrong with, and in fact, almost if you start with Warhammer of whatever flavour, Sigma or 40k, and then move on, you're doing it right. That's the way a lot of people do it. You don't have to stay trapped in the fucking GW net. And it's oh, that's brilliant. Pandy says, I'm releasing a Shaun of the Dead narrative campaign for threat level. Oh, Pandy's bang on topic. It is quite cold. Well, you say it's flipping freezing, Taurus. We had the fire lit for the first time since obviously last winter, last night. Now I'm sitting here sweating my bollocks off thinking, oh, I wish I'd taken my sweatshirt off before I got sat down with my apron on. I may have to sort of like duck out of shot and strip off at some point because I'm way too bloody hot. You
need the Magic Mike music, mate.
Okay, Bacchus released the start of their Italian Wars range. Are they 28mm, Toros? I have heard the name Bacchus bandied about, but I don't. And I know they do historical stuff, but I don't. Is that Italian Wars? Presumably that's what Renaissance, like. When is the Italian Wars period? 1600s plus or minus 100, is it? What's that? Oh, 3 degrees tonight. Fuck that. RFD Hobby has beaten homelessness and is now having a roof. Oh, that's awesome, Tim. That is actually amazing. RFD hobby. I'll have a look at that, mate. Bacchus is 6 mil. Oh, holy shit. Okay, right. Yeah. Okay, mate. So that's what was I right about the? It's 15th, so that's 1400s to
1500s.
1500s. Okay, cool, mate.
You did say 16th century plus minus 100.
Yeah, I was, yeah. So I wasn't
A
far
million
off.
miles away.
Wasn't far off. Yeah. Do you know what? 6mm. I still don't play. Smallest scale game we play is Drop Zone, isn't it, mate? 10 mil. I still want to get my old Warhammer Epic back to the table at some point. 40k Epic. I've got so many models. I just need to basically get my shit together and then say to somebody at club, "Do you want to try this game that's been dead forever?" Bailey Hobby
In your
Time.
usual fucking drug dealer way.
Cheesemy says Bailey Hobby Time has a Kickstarter for his Wild Imaginary West. What's that, mate? What's that, Cheesemy? Is that a game or is that miniature range or what is that? Tell you what, I did see. And I was sorely tempted by. Toros might know. Isn't there a chap who does a rule set for like feudal Japanese wars at like 6 mil or some insanely small scale? Because I've got a feeling I saw his stuff at both UKGE and at Hereward last year and was like, oh, that could be my first small scale game, because I am a bit of a
Japanese whore.
Japan file. Is that the word? Is that an actual correct? It's.
Did anybody see the intelligence report for Bolt Action about competitive play? I know we're not competitive.
Did Bolt Action? Do you know what? After they didn't really do one last week, I never even looked to see if there was one this week. Was there a?
Yeah, there was one. They are supporting second edition in the competitive scene until January.
To allow people to get into the new rules.
As of January 2025, they will no longer be supporting second edition.
Oh, that's fair enough. At least they're giving people, at least they're not switching events over day one, because that could be bloody messy. They're giving people a few months to acclimatise to the new changes. That's pretty cool. I haven't looked, actually. Is the rulebook up for sale yet? Have you had a look?
No, it releases on the 26th.
Okay, yeah.
Basically, 2 weeks today.
I will put it. My wife was asking me the other day for ideas for the Christmas list. Something like that, where it's a change of edition rulebook, is a perfect thing for the Christmas list, because it's something specific. I can tell her exactly what I need, and I don't feel bad about spending the money on replacing something I already have. So I will probably put that down and get it for Crimbo. Yeah, I know what you mean, Toros. The old war. Not that we should complain, but certainly the wargaming hobby is definitely spoiled for options at the moment.
Excuse me, Pandy. What? Terrain from Pandy Man.
Has that gone live on your site, Pandy?
Pray tell, kind sir.
Things may glitch out, guys. I am opening
the internet.
I am opening the internet, all of it.
Pandy is going to Warlords Open Day. Excuse me, fucking phone. Thank you.
Just on your website now, Pandy. So have you...
I have the reasoning. Spam is not here, boys and girls.
Okay.
She's still waiting on Wi-Fi installation.
Oh, okay. That's all right, Tim. Thank you for being here, mate. You go and get some kip. You can always catch up with us later. That tends to be where I watch your streams. because me and the wife are often watching TV when you go live on a Tuesday. So, oh, he's teasing us. He's teasing us. That's not fair, Pandy. I was like, oh, he's slipped that one by us. Funnily enough, I did share with David a fantastic little terrain project that I saw on the Melda Terrain Tutors Facebook group. Somebody had been doing terrain that's absolutely perfect for your game, Paul. To be honest with you, mate, I never thought. I'll send you a link to the photographs. But it looked bang up.
On trend.
Not something that you could probably commercialize because it was very bespoke, handcrafted. But I tell you what he was doing was perfect for your game. Absolutely perfect for it. It will be releasing in October.
But I want it now, Pandy.
Just yeah, I mean, it was. I don't know if you're in his Facebook group, Pandy. It's Mel the Terrain Tutor. You probably know who I mean. It's his group on YouTube, on Facebook, YouTube. Fucking listen to me on Facebook. I'm sure that's where it was. I've got the link because I shared it with over Messenger with you.
Hang on, Pandy incoming.
Are you going to share it with him? Good man. Because my phone's obviously doubling as my desk cam, so I can't fuck about with it.
So's mine, but
you're obviously more technical.
That's what I sent you.
I did send you it, didn't I?
Yes, just bear with me.
I come in, bear with me.
Got to find it. Oh! How do we feel about the Operation Sandtrap stuff and the new releases for Infinity? I'm looking forward to the White Banner sectorial stuff for what's it called? Yujing that's coming. On Facebook, Pandy. There you go.
Yeah, so there you go. Awesome. So what I was just looking in the chat there to see you'd mentioned in Infinity, but nobody had, and I guess you were just freeballing it, were you, mate?
Yeah, I just saw it in the
Facebook.
In the Facebook that I sent you. There's new White Banner stuff coming for not JSA,
Yujing,
which I'm really excited for because I have a White Banner sectorial army. So
I have with the drop of N5, I have to do my combined army list. I need to start spending some serious money on Infinity.
Tags.
I'm definitely doing, because I haven't got a tag for my JSA currently, although the new one does appeal to me. I'm definitely buying the tag for the combined army.
That new one for the JSA is pretty as fuck. I am not in that group. Well, Pandy, get your ass into that group and then you can see it. My friend.
If you really don't want to join that group, Paul, because you're one of these people who likes to not get your Facebook too cluttered with groups that you don't have a great interest in, don't panic. I'll download all the photos to my phone and just send you them for reference.
What else is in the news?
As I say,
I'll tell you the other thing that I have seen in the news, not overly related, but kind of related. Season 2 Rings of Power, they reckon they might be canning it after this season because it hasn't got the viewership.
You surprise me, he said without any conviction whatsoever. I don't know what the general feeling in the room is on Rings of Power. I don't really have any. I tried it. I made it to about episode 2, I think, or 3. I gave up. Wasn't interested. It just didn't do it for me, I'm afraid.
Pandy has requested.
The pics.
No, the group.
Oh, he's
I
asked
would
to join.
assume.
Oh, that's fine. I mean, it's a great group to be in. To be fair, if you want to see some sickeningly inspirational projects, terrain projects, that's the place to be, because those people are tryhards with a capital T. Which is
And R and Y and H. And
yeah.
R.
They're all a tryhard. In terms of the only other news I've got is I finally took delivery of a Kickstarter. Pardon me, got hiccups. I'll have to have a sip of scotch.
Oh shit.
Yeah, took delivery of a Kickstarter. This week.
Which one was that, Paul?
That is Harakiri. Hara, I think it is. Harakiri Blades of Honor. Basically, this is shamefully simplistic, but basically think Gloomhaven. I'll get rid of that. Yeah,
Gloomhaven, but feudal Japan.
I'm with you, Darren. It's not that. Do you know what? I didn't hate it.
It just was slow.
Yeah, I just didn't. I didn't give a shit about any of the characters. That was the problem. I found. So, chat's got loads here. So Tora says, when is the And Beyond supplement being released for Infinity? I don't know, mate, is the honest answer. I don't know. What is the And Beyond supplement?
I think he's taking the piss.
Oh, to Infinity
Toy
and Beyond.
Story.
Oh my god. That is so lame. Fucking hell, Toros. We get rid of fucking Tim and his dad jokes, and then you just step into the breach. Cheers for that. Yeah. Harakiri, Blades of Honor, came in delivered this week from Synergic Games. I didn't go mad. I didn't get everything.
You didn't go God Pledge.
I got the base game and both of the playable expansions. So I went for all the gameplay material without going for all the fucking pimp my game shit, like, you know, bloody acrylic tokens and metal coins and blah. I don't tend to bother with that stuff unless essentially it's free by going God Pledge, because it's as cheap. All I want is playable content. So the game is basically Gloomhaven in Japan. Yeah, massively simplistic, but you get the idea if I say that. You have like a map board like you do with Gloomhaven. The map board actually forms, unlike Gloomhaven where the map board is just a reference, really. It doesn't really do anything in the game other than you put stickers on it.
They let you put stickers on it and draw crosses on the stickers.
Yeah, but it basically could be it could be like a double page spread in the middle of the book that you could just use. They didn't need to print it as a board.
More on this in a minute, because it links massively with the main topic.
But so this has it's got an adventure phase which takes place on a board like that, but it is an interactive game, so you're moving around, you're moving your characters around on this map to achieve missions. Then at some point you will trigger the next event, which is the exploration phase, which is more like the dungeon tile Gloomhaven-y bit, where you will literally be moving around fighting in a small space, trying to complete a specified objective. Now, unlike Gloomhaven, which is, I would say with Gloomhaven, the narrative is very loosely formed, and you can basically just do what you want most of the time. You aren't on rails. You can pretty much pick. There are a couple of points where you'll need to pick mission A or mission B, but basically you're pretty much free to do what you bloody like. Harakiri is much more rigid, and effectively everything is driven by massive storybooks like this. Probably Toros, if I'd played 47 Ronin, I would know. So this, I don't know if you can actually see how thick that is. Is it page numbered?
Oh, Jesus.
So that is, if you can just see, this is Act 1 of the main game. And
How
that's
many acts are there, Paul?
2. And that's 266 pages. And basically, it's got like a choose your own adventure format. So I tell you what, it's very, very much like, you know, the current Arkham Horror thing we're playing, where when you do some action on a particular card, it will say read Codex Entry 12, for example.
Yeah.
Basically, it's the same as that. So the mission card will say, put an event mark token on the round tracker on round 4. When it gets to round 4, read book entry 107. And basically, all the stuff triggers off the game as you play it.
Yeah.
So as I say, there are two rule books. The rule books themselves are quite light. You have an adventure phase rule book and an exploration phase rule book, because the two different parts of the game work very differently mechanically. The components are absolutely beautiful. The production value is amazing. The miniatures are great. I will be showing more off. Obviously, I will be starting a project on Tabletop, and I might even film some video content. My only criticism so far, and something I didn't appreciate, probably it's my own fault, is that I knew that the game was potentially solo playable out of the box, because that's one of my sort of caveats. If I'm spending serious money on a board game now, I need to be able to have the freedom to play it solo, because if I can't guarantee that I'm going to get players to play it with me, I don't want it sitting gathering dust. I always want the freedom to just go, no, I don't need anybody else. I'm just going to sit down with this and I'm going to have a Sunday playing with my toys. The only thing is,
you could have phrased that so much better. So it could have been clear.
Yeah, but if I had phrased it better, nobody would have had anything to snigger at. So I'm entirely happy with my life decisions.
No, but you could have had a Sunday playing with yourself.
What was I going to say before you derailed my train of thought? There are 4 protagonists in the game. You've got like a female samurai type woman, a wandering blind ex-military veteran, sort of like a vagrant vagabond type who's blind. You have a ninja, and you have, what was the 4th one?
A Ronin?
A monk. Some classic Far Eastern, Chinese, Japanese tropes. Imaginative, it perhaps isn't the most, but I tell you what, it looks beautiful. I cannot wait to play it. But as I was saying, you have 4 protagonists. Even when you're playing solo, you need to use all 4 protagonists, because there's no scaling in the game. So you either need to run 4 characters or spread them out among the players. So when I'm playing solo, I find it more immersive if I am a single protagonist. So that
Gloomhaven, you struggled because you were running 2.
Yeah, Gloomhaven, you can't go lower than 2, and even at 2, it's fucking hard mode squared. So that could be better. The other thing I will say, people slagged off Gotham City Chronicles as a rulebook when it was launched by Monolith. You want to be grateful. The rulebooks are not easy to. I mean, essentially, when you have to go to the components list page and check what the imagery is to make diagrams in the game make sense, I think that there's a problem. Do you know what I mean?
Have you told the boys and girls at home how long they were developing this game for?
4 years. 4 years of development, apparently. So again, looking at the amount of narrative work and whatever that's gone into it, I can see totally where that time went. But yeah. So yeah.
Didn't go on the rulebook, did it?
All negativity aside, I'm really excited to get playing it, and I'm sure it will all make sense once I've played a couple of the scenarios. Because again, what you do is you work through the act.
Is it Gloomhaven-esque and it has cardboard standees for the monsters, or
no?
What?
Everything's a miniature.
So it's better. It's better than Gloomhaven.
I haven't done a miniature count. I would say there's probably about 120-ish miniatures, ranging from standard little 28mm or 30mm. You know, most of the bad guys are types of demon, like Tengu and Kamachi and that sort of thing. Then you've got your 4 protagonist characters. So you've got a lot of like 28mm scale miniatures, and then there are some fucking massive centerpiece, like the demon. I'm assuming he's like the end boss for the main scenario. He must be 6 inches tall. As his massive, sort of like a muscle demon with katana. So the miniatures look amazing. Darren says Sunday afternoon is often a solo gaming session for me. Usually a game book like 5. Do you know what, mate? Oh, Darren, I used to have the entire. Well, I say the entire. I think I was missing some of the later ones. I think I had about the first 47 Final Fighting Fantasy game books. Because I think they got up to 50 something before they killed the first line and then did the first reissue, where they basically cherry picked the successful selling ones and renumbered them. But I had the first 47, I think it was, of the original run, and I got rid of them. And I regret that so much. I often start going on eBay looking to see what the pre-owned prices are, but man, they're expensive. But yeah, I often think about them even today. Which brings us to main topic o'clock. Hey.
Does it already?
It never gets. Yeah, I thought it was 50 something, Darren. Don't tell me you've got all 59. Don't make me miserable, mate. That would be. Oh my god.
Make him miserable. Make him salty.
It never gets old. Cheeseby's doing the playing with yourself on. Yeah, I know. We mentioned one that I saw at the Chilcon at Derby. A chap who's got a set of like half a dozen. I think on Tabletop spoke to him at UKGE this year. Darren says, no, I wish. Yeah, I know, mate. Some of life decisions we regret.
Life decisions you regret.
Yeah. So let's get to our main topic. So I deliberately let the thumbnail and the video title be a bit cryptic. So we were going to talk about
vague.
Yeah, vague. Go on then. I'm going to have a sip of whiskey actually before we get into it. So what this will bring Pandy can come in on this topic because it's going to be very pertinent to what he's just mentioned as one of the things he's working on. David and I often talk about topics that we're going to do, and then we had this idea, or we were
This
talking.
has been on the back burner since UKGE. I think I sat in Subway and said something along the lines of, "What the fuck is it with all the legacy games this year?
Yeah.
Why the fuck is UK Games Expo filled with games that have legacy game modes?"
And but by legacy, do you mean like the true legacy where you're destroying cards and the game becomes something unique that you can never reset? Or was it a broader point about campaign modes?
I think it was more a broader point about campaign modes.
That's how I remembered
there was a lot of legacy games in ripping stuff up, etc. But there also seems to have been a smorgasbord this year of, well, you can play this in campaign mode, and you can do this and that and the other, and
and I mean, again, it's not just board games though, is it? Miniatures games are becoming. Paul's just called it out. Paul is working on a narrative campaign for threat level. Admittedly,
in
it sounds
Shaun of the Dead style.
It sounds quite light-hearted with like the Shaun of the Dead sort of like homage.
Taurus has hit the nail on the head here. There's a pandemic of them.
I love it. That's great. Well done, Taros. But yeah, and do you know what? It's like I love my Frostgrave. Why do I love my Frostgrave? Because it's got warband development. It's got that linked narrative. We're playing through the epic Red King's bloody quest. Which is linked scenarios, not freestanding scenarios, not one-offs.
But you're being disingenuous to Frostgrave there, because even the one-off mode in the core rulebook has campaign elements, and we'll come to this in a minute.
Well, to be fair, Frostgrave, I'm fairly sure when I was rereading the rulebook recently, and I think it does say that you can feel free to play it as discrete one-off games. It sort of like gives you permission, because obviously everybody needs permission to do anything now in gaming, whether that's war gaming or board gaming. God forbid you would actually buy a product and then do what you fucking like with it, without express permission from somebody. Sorry, is that me just being bitter?
Yeah, you're just being a bit salty. Salt yourself, bitch. But anyway, we were sat in Subway eating breakfast, weren't we?
Yeah.
And I sort of said, where the fuck has all this come from? What the fuck is all this about? And we ruminated on it, and we bandied the topic about for a bit. And then I had a stroke of pure and utter genius, in the words of a certain ginger co-host. Has all this come from digital gaming? Of pick your own adventure. Like, take Fallout, for example. Role-playing game on the computer. Ignore the miniatures war game at the moment. We'll come to that in a second.
Oh, you're talking about the PC game, right? Got you.
Yeah, I'm talking about the PC game.
Or
console, through... Yeah, whatever. Walk through the game, pick your story arcs. Certain elements will become locked if you advance too far with a certain faction. Our legacy, i.e. permanently changing the state of the game.
But you can always delete your save and restart.
This is what I was about to say. If you're intelligent, you make multiple saves as you're going through the game so that you can go achievement hunt like a bitch.
Yeah, and basically experience everything.
Yes. Legacy games don't allow you to do that because you're permanently changing the cards. I mean, Gloomhaven, God forbid, it physically instructs you to rip your product clean in two.
Yeah. In Gloomhaven, the main one is the there are certain road events and city event cards. You are supposed to tear them up when you have resolved them so that you can never resolve them again. Obviously, I don't. I just put them in an envelope or a little plastic bag, set them aside so that we won't encounter them a second time. Darren says 5 leagues is great because you get to explore your own fantasy map with new places to discover and appear on the map and lots of player agency. It does feel like an open world video game. Yeah, you see, this is what I thought was quite a smart little observation that I hadn't really considered. But then again, I'm not as engaged as a digital gamer. But I don't know if you guys agree. I mean, I'm going to be devil's advocate here. Dungeons and Dragons was created in the 1970s, and that is the ultimate narrative style tabletop game. Obviously, it spawned an entire genre of gaming as storytelling in the role-playing games sector. And it is, but I mean, even though it never really started at that, it started as like a grindy, almost board game-ish, move from room to room, kill the bad guys, resolve the traps. Do you know what I mean? The storytelling in old school 70s and even 80s to some degree Dungeons and Dragons was very loosey-goosey. It's obviously matured into a much different beast where the storytelling elements are much stronger. In both
its entire arcs and campaigns now,
and that's in both published material and fan created material. I think it's fair to say that there are far more people who are into that type of gaming than are into what might be called old school revival type D&D, where it's literally like a dungeon hack and slash type game.
But there does come a downside. We've said it before on stream. We've said it before on this channel. We love Frostgrave. We love a Link campaign. We've been playing Arkham lately. We love a bit of Frostgrave. I
love Mordheim back in the day.
Yeah.
And still wish I could play more of it.
Blood Bowl leagues. I know we're not a huge fan of them, but they do have a place.
And Blood Bowl leagues would very much qualify, I think, for our description of a narrative or linked game series.
But all of these physical games come with a major downside when it comes to this campaign style of play. Tracking, making notes, recording events that have happened, recording your little dog that could, for example, Paul, in Frostgrave. Johnny Rambo killing the worm single-handedly that we've mentioned before on this channel.
To be fair, though, those water cooler moments don't actually add game overhead. It doesn't expect you to chronicle those events, does it?
But resolving what's died and survived at the end of a game, what treasure you've got is the point I'm trying to make.
Yeah, no, definitely. And the other thing is, when I played Armada this week, I really enjoyed it. And it made me reflect as we were coming to do this topic that in miniature wargaming, to just have a discrete game that is its own boundaries, that doesn't have any bigger agenda
premise
or it doesn't require any more investment from me than I just enjoy what the game I'm playing there and then. Do you know what I mean?
Get your miniatures out, get your dice out, hook 'em, have some fun. We're done.
Exactly. And do you know what?
Night choose me.
I don't really understand. There's part of me that doesn't. I don't know. I'm not being fair. I do totally understand why that we're getting all of this campaign-based stuff becoming ubiquitous, even because I mean it's infecting board gaming. Every board game you buy now. I mean, Christ Almighty, what did we talk about?
May I just mention the Everdell campaign?
I was just going to say,
that ends in like 12 hours time or something like that. That now brings a campaign mode to Everdell. Can I just mention that? Yes, I have backed it.
But I mean, that was going to be exactly what I said, mate. I mean, Jesus Christ, it doesn't seem to matter how unlikely or how
tenuous the link is.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't matter how pasted on it looks. Everybody is trying to put a campaign mode into every board game, and it's happening now with miniature wargaming. And I just, again, it comes back to David's observation.
Fucking why?
That digital just does this better. I just think that it's not one of the strengths of the hobby that we've got.
We're intrinsically dealing with physical assets, and yes, you can make your notes digital on a Frostgrave warband or whatever. But you're
do an editable PDF or something.
Yeah. You're dealing with physical assets, resolving physical events that have occurred and happened on the table that are changing the game for the future. I mean, can I just band out here sort of the epitome of a game that does it in a really weird way for campaign style is the Infinity Global Campaign. So Infinity Global Campaigns, for those that don't know, are rock up, create an account on their campaign system, sign in, pick your faction. Once you've picked your faction, all you need to do is go and play games with your friends and record results through a sort of war game report.
Yeah.
Some pickies are nice. Record the outcome of the game, feed it back into the machine. You get a week or two of playing that, and then when that is all said and done, Corvus Belly, the game developers, walk away with that information and change their world accordingly.
Yeah, but again, yes, that is in one element that is a campaign, but the games themselves are just normal games, aren't they?
Yeah, and
you're literally just transferring the win-loss result to some sort of like chronicling system.
Yeah, chronicling database, and that's why I'm saying it is the most sort of pasted-on version, because you as a player may not have played in the past 2 global campaigns because you haven't got round to playing Infinity, but you're now being affected by the outcome and the results of those campaigns.
And also, to participate in that campaign, you can either be fortunate enough to play 12 games over the period of the campaign, or you know what, you might just only be able to get 1 in because you don't game very often, or your friends weren't free, or whatever. Do you know what I mean? There isn't really any issues with that. I think,
and so my point I'm making here is the Infinity campaign system is just nice. It is thin. There is not any burdensome. I
agree with you. I agree with you.
Frostgrave is a little bit more burdensome in tracking details on paper and what books you're playing and what treasures you're unlocking and keeping track of your gold in your home base and that kind of stuff. Unfortunately, it is a little bit more burdensome, but it is less burdensome to a degree because you've only got 10 models to worry and care about. More time was really deep diving, wasn't it, on keeping track of everything. And Necromunda, the latest one, is again another bad example of managing a campaign. And again, there's depths and levels of these campaigns. Some of these campaigns are just story arcs and developments for your warband, a la Frostgrave. Some of them are intrinsic, deep diving, real time strategies, a la Necromunda, with game control, board control, that kind of thing, and area controls. You know what I mean? And winning and losing a game affects it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying with it being intrinsically a deeper, harder level to manage.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, Necromunda's more general because I didn't really play much of the new Necromunda, but it was like you had like territory cards, I think they were, and like if you won so many games, you got to add a new territory card. It was all very complex, but it was very open-ended, and it effectively went on as long as you wanted it to. I mean, Darren says that he enjoys 5 leagues and 5 parsecs because they're open-ended. You've got an expanding map. I mean, the thing is, they're solo, so you can literally just indulge yourself, do it at its own pace, do it in its own way.
Do it when you got 5 minutes to. Well,
yeah,
not 5 minutes, but
most miniature war games are much more. They're a lot more difficult to arrange games. They require, like you said, a massive amount of commitment in terms of, you need somewhere to play, you need someone to play with.
Terrain.
You got to have terrain prepped, model collections. It's like there is just so many other obstacles. Do you really want to add a mission, a campaign, narrative campaign to your game? I mean,
we've mentioned it before. Arkham Horror 3rd Edition pasted on their campaign system so paper thin and veneer of it's just a series of linked scenarios that you progressively get harder because you just change some things on setup.
To be fair, though, the scenarios aren't even linked. You randomly choose a mission. When you've played the mission once,
what I'm saying.
Yeah, when you've played the mission once, you just randomly choose another one and you can't ever play that mission again. And it's like you say, the only thing that changes is as you go from game to game to game to game, the difficulty gets harder and harder and harder and harder. You don't have to carry across character development. You don't have experience. You don't keep track of equipment. And do you know what I mean? It's what you said a minute ago about like the Infinity campaign. Effectively, you're just playing games of Arkham Horror 3rd Edition, the board game, but you're saying to yourself, we're going to keep using the same characters until they die, and each time we sit down to play this, it's going to get harder and harder and harder.
We're just slowly turning the boil up.
I mean, stuff like that is so light touch. You're like, oh yeah, you can't really complain because it gives you an extra way to enjoy your product, but it doesn't really demand a huge amount from you other than you be a bit of a masochist.
I mean, again, Darren's touched on this here. I guess throwing a campaign system is a good way to add perceived value to a player.
But does it though? Does it? Does it indeed add value? Because how many people will use it or get the most from it?
Well, this is what I'm just about to say. Shall we compare this now to digital gaming and why it's better?
Also, while David's setting his stall out here, just throw it up in the chat. Who thinks there is any connection between the explosion and growth of these 4? Because I mean, again, when legacy board gaming came in with Pandemic, it was like revolutionary. But in a way, it is just that sort of like bookkeeping element.
It's game management.
Yeah, it's
Similar.
which computer games have been doing effortlessly for years. Who thinks that there is a little bit of a who thinks that
And
their
and
premise,
this
that
is what
David's
I'm because
observation was right, which is that digital gaming and people's increasing familiarity with digital game products is saying to them is basically making the consumer, and that's the other question, is it the consumers getting this out of their computer games and saying, wouldn't it be cool if when I played my X-Wing fucking miniatures game, I had a narrative campaign with ship development? Is there a link? Anyway, mate, you carry on with your original point. I'm just going to quickly scan through the chat.
the point I was trying to make was digital games. You particularly if you are doing what's known as achievement hunting. So you're going through to get that 100% completionist badge on whatever console you play on or computer you play on. Because you know that certain elements of the game are changing, you make a quick save before you do, and that quick save stays stored in the background. You come back to it later once you finish the game to then choose the other story arcs that get locked behind arcs, etc.
Yep.
Gloomhaven, when we first started playing Gloomhaven, this is what, fucking 12 months ago now, seems really cool and intrinsically linked to the digital gaming aspects because it has an achievement tracker and a flag system. Certain campaign games get locked away behind in the background that you can never unlock or play them because you didn't play X, Y, and Z scenario in the lead up to it. Unlike a digital game where you've got a quick save that you can just go reload, how do you manage it with a legacy game where you're meant to be destroying cards and going and picking a different route without doing a complete second playthrough from the beginning again and knowing where you need to step off one rail and onto the next set of rails to do the story arcs that you missed the first time around? Because again, the problem I perceive with Gloomhaven is just the sheer fucking volume of content. There's 190 scenarios or something like that, isn't there?
Yes.
There's an insane amount of scenarios.
It's well over 100.
To
certainly.
keep track of that is a clusterfuck. You don't have a quick save option, or even, hear me out here, boys and girls, a digital companion,
Yeah.
a la Arkham Horror LCG, to do that legwork for you in the background.
Yeah. I mean, Toros said about playing campaigns. Wargaming campaigns are fun, and if we could have used a computer to track it all, then we certainly would have done. And that's the thing. I mean, Gloomhaven, I don't even think it's particularly a great game. It's an okay game. I think it's a little bit overrated, having played a fair bit of it. But some of the campaign tracking stuff, fucking hell, is it clunky, and is it hard work? You know.
Well, again, we've already touched on it once tonight. Let's get out the second board and stick our stickers on.
Yeah. Why is that?
Rude,
Why is that a massive fucking board when it's just going to have a few stickers on it? Is that really the thing? But as Toro says, a lot of campaigns are too bloated. Yeah, and again, that echoes pretty much what David's saying there, which is that did there needs to be, I don't know, 190 or whatever the fuck the actual number is, missions
They
in
could have got away with
Gloomhaven?
60.
Yeah, perhaps half that number, but tighter designed would have been better. I certainly would have enjoyed it more. Like I say, I found Gloomhaven a little bit of a chore, to be honest. In
I think
lots of
my
ways,
own understanding and knowledge of campaigns these days is different to what I think of campaigns, which is a group of players at clubs, say, doing a Macedonian successor campaign. I mean, again, this is the other thing, and I think again this intrinsically links to the digital age. Everything has to get harder. Everything has to have more content. Gone are the days of exploring a RPG with your friends, having water cooler moments, or struggling to fight a big bad because you've not got enough experience, etc. It's just about turning that wick up to 11 as quickly, as fast as possible, and you're going to enjoy this and get your money's worth.
I mean,
do you know what I mean?
I do know exactly what you mean, and I'm thinking about what Toros has just said. I mean, Toros, I'm old enough that I've played Warhammer Fantasy Battle linked campaigns where, like David said with Necromunda, you're playing games each month, and then there are a load of, in our cases, often fan created or ancillary rules where you're gaining territories or handling other resource streams than just your army. You are tracking, your military strength and your position on a map and loads of other stuff. And I've played several over my decades and decades of being a hobby wargamer, and I've enjoyed all of them to some degree. But I'll be honest, I haven't enjoyed them enough that now if somebody says to me about one at club, and I think one got mooted with the release of Old World, somebody said about doing something similar again. And I was like, yeah, thanks, but no thanks. Because there are so many things that you need to make that work. You need to have a number of players who don't just drop out after 2 games. Sometimes they run better with actually a games master who's arbitrating loads of other stuff. And it's just like, it sounds great, but is it actually that great in the context of what we do in miniature wargaming? And I think my sort of position on it is that I just think that we should stop chasing it quite so hard. I think some games get it right, fantastically right. I mean, we've mentioned that the Infinity Global campaigns are a perfect fit. All that happens is you play a certain number of games in a fixed time period, report your results on some digital platform, bang, that's the campaign done. You just play the games and you're done. But some of them are they just don't work very well. I mean, again, Frostgrave is fine. It's great. It is a great game.
I think Frostgrave works and vibes because we have a lot of people interested in it at club.
Not only that, to be fair, you can actually set Frostgrave up and you can play scenarios so quick. We did it when we were hardcoring Frostgrave. We would do 2, sometimes 3 scenarios in a night, weren't we?
Yeah, true.
When you've got, you can literally, it's got such a loose little play style, and it's not granular to the point where you get bogged down in shit. And in fact, to be fair, the swingy dice means that it's actually, you often lose models quite quickly, so it becomes very fast. So again, it mitigates it, and I mean, you can't do that with Mordheim. Mordheim games tend to drag on. They're quite grindy. I can't imagine doing 2 or 3 Mordheim games in a session.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
So Toros says where there are basic economic rules in the campaign is a reason not to fight the classman every game. I don't know if that's a typo. I'm not quite seeing what you mean at the end there. Not to fight to the last man every game. Okay, yeah. I get it, mate. Yes, so I see what you were trying to type there. Yeah, so basically, again, certainly, it's a bit like a war game, though. To be fair, what fun is a war game where it's like last man standing? Objective-based war games war games it's like that game of Armada I had. The objective was focused around get that ship off the table. Everybody else is scrapping. Do what you can to stop it. And again, it led for really creative play because I ran my ship aground. My fault, in part. So his ship's coming through, and I'm like, can I do enough damage to stop it? Well, what if I can't do enough damage to stop it? If I just put my cheap little ships in front of it so that it crashes into me, always he's having to make evasion tests, I'll have to sacrifice my ships, but I might sink him to avoid him scoring.
Eventually,
and it led to innovative approach to the game because of the scenario, which is what a scenario should be doing, to be fair. I think.
Yeah, but if it had been a series of linked campaigns and you never got those boats back,
Toros says
you wouldn't have taken that risk, would you?
Sorry, what was that, mate?
If that was a linked game and you never got those boats back, sank.
Absolutely not. No, you're right. Because other things would come into play. It's like, oh, do I conserve my resources, etc. Toros has said when they used to do their campaigns, they picked a rule set that was light so that games never lasted more than 45 minutes and you could get 3 or 4 in a night. Again, brilliant. That is, and he did use game masters to track stuff. Yeah, I mean, again, the thing is, Toros, what you were doing there was you were creating a fan created scenario or campaign mode and sticking it onto a game where it would actually work quite well and be realistically achievable. My problem is when we see like campaign mode, it's like one of the things that I have got absolutely zero fucking interest in is the Crusade format for 40k. I honestly, there is that much cognitive burden from that game already. You're telling me you want to start tracking individual unit changes, battle rewards, battle scars. You want to add that onto that on what is already a very slow, very technical, very involved game. I do not understand why that would appeal to anyone. What sort of sadomasochistic mindset would actually say, do you know what, that's just what this game needs?
More complication.
And I don't, to be fair, I am not in the GW sphere anymore. I don't know how popular is Crusade as a game format. I'm guessing probably not very. And if you did do it, you'd probably be playing with tiny forces rather than massive armies. I was exactly the same, Darren. Exactly the same. I was like, oh, that sounds interesting, actually. Like, I mean, again, tracking casualties, making units smaller. Yeah, but then, like you say, you look at the actual rules and what's involved, and you're like, nope. No, thank you. Okay, I mean, again, Toros, you've obviously got a gaming group that's self-educated. Yeah, I mean, again, that's been my experience. I've had so many hobby projects with gaming groups, and somebody suggested something, and you think that's brilliant, and it just goes nowhere. Or 2 weeks into it, you're like, no, this was a mistake. We need to stop this, which makes me very reluctant to tackle anything like it again. And again, board games. I am guilty. I look at board games like Harakiri Blades of Honor, and I think, oh, that looks amazing. That looks amazing. But do you know what? There's a lot of cardboard real estate in that, and there's a lot of shit to track. I mean, when we played Assassin's Creed the other night, and you've got like your save envelopes, and you know, now that we've got to keep track of wounds and damage, and we're going to have assassins that are not necessarily in play but are healing at the base, and we've got to put them in the hospital and then put miniatures to heal them, and it's like, you know, this stuff.
This has now become an RTS management game, not a fucking board game.
You know, and you just think, a computer would do this so well. And again,
we've already touched on it tonight. The aspects of certain games now adding apps in to help track campaign play. Mansions of Madness, anybody? Arkham Horror LCG, anybody? Fucking genius move. If you want to, as a game developer, have a campaign mode, let the PC do the work for you. Genuinely.
Yeah. Do you know what?
It makes...
If somebody's got computer programming skills and wants to make their first £1 million, set up a website that will run campaigns for miniature war games. It will do things like create the scenarios. As you log the game, it will like give you an alert. Turn 4, X happens. It just because without that digital support, it's something that I think we're all gonna want, for whatever reason that is, whether that's because we saw it we've played it on the computer and we think, oh, if I could do this with my little plastic toys, that would be amazing. Or whether it's just because that's in the nature of us as human beings. We want to take something that's simple and self-contained and make it the world's most complicated thing. I whatever the reason, I don't know, but it's like David said, digital support would make all of this so much more viable and rewarding, I think.
Definitely. Again, having a app where it just goes end of game, what happened, who got killed, right now, have you resolved the impacts of that death, etc., and what treasure did you get, and tracking it that way automated for you is...
Darren's adamant, no apps, no digital assets. I'll be to be fair though, Darren, obviously...
No, we're not saying apps for gaming. What we're saying is apps for campaign, whether that be tracking at the end or whatever.
Yeah, Darren's drawing a red line in the sand. To be fair though, Darren, you must be getting to be an old hand at this. You do 5 parsecs, don't you? You do 5 leagues. And those are pretty crunchy campaign games, aren't they? Where you are keeping track of a lot of stuff, like your play area and what you've got to explore and what you've done, and your warband. So I am
loving these worms.
You are analoging the shit out of it and enjoying it because you presumably because you do so much of it. Let's just say, for instance, you got into a more typical miniatures game. Say for example, Bolt Action. I don't know if you play, Darren, to be honest. But if somebody said to you, if you were at a gaming club of your mates and they said, oh, we should definitely do a bolt action campaign where we sort of like try to recreate, I don't know, the fucking
Market Garden.
a Market Garden or the Eastern Front or whatever, and then you come up with it. Would you do that where you've got to come up with a load of extra rules, track casualties, maybe have armies change? Would you do that sort of thing in the non-solo sense, or do you think that, like in a way that I do, that what you've got captured within the 5 leagues wouldn't work in that way? Yeah, you write down everything that you do, but just out of interest, would you take that into like a multiplayer campaign, particularly for a wargame rule set that may not have been written for that game style in mind? Would you do that? Because again, some of the other, I mean, again, Warlord do endless numbers of campaign books for Bolt Action. I've got a couple of them, but mostly in those books, all they are is like scenarios that you might play back to back that tell a little bit of a story. Again, it comes back to what we said about the Infinity thing. Effectively, all you do is you just pick a scenario, you sit down and you play it as a game. And if you link them, if you play one, then the other, that tells the story. But there isn't a lot of overhead. And again, that sort of thing works well, I think, in our hobby. But when it gets too crunchy, too involved, I just think it's not viable.
But again, it hasn't become a...
Ewok, good to see you, sir.
Ewok! Love you, dude.
Who needs digital when you get a small Filipino child and over? Fucking hell. So, I take it you have a small Filipino child that lives under your stairs?
No, he can neither confirm nor deny the CIA will be at his house otherwise.
Right, okay. Like Darren says, long term, I think it pays off to keep it analog, although I'm counting on using a spreadsheet or word processor as analog. I agree with you on the apps. The big problem with apps is when, like,
when
in the short to
the
medium term,
dies,
you don't have a problem. But when it goes, when you're 20 years distant and there is no longer, the technology can't support that app, it's never been redesigned or updated, maybe it can't be emulated on the technology. Yeah, you might lose something. But maybe if I get into a position where I was reliant on an app and then I can't use the app and it spoils it, I'll move my position. But it's never happened to me yet.
But again, you've just hit the nail on the head. Web pages, stuff like that, stuff that is updatable.
I mean, yeah, again, if you did it as a website, I mean, to be fair, you can write an Android app that effectively is just a shell to open web pages, can't you? So you can even make it look like an app, but it's actually just a skin for a website. And they are as pretty much as universal as it come. Army builders are a great example of that. Fun. Again, though, I've not really had an issue where the thing with an army builder app is if it ever goes away, you can just go back to pen and paper if you own the stuff. It's not unique. It's just something that is streamlining something else. The problem about what we're proposing is that you don't actually issue a campaign book where you can do it pen and paper. You just literally build the platform and let the computer handle it. The problem then is if you don't know how that works, if that ever goes away, then you can't recreate it yourself, which is a fair criticism.
Or again, here's a radical idea. Just fucking calm down with putting it in everything and making it so that you need a fucking 25 million page journal to track everything.
To be fair, though,
a couple of elements here and there, fine.
Yeah. I just think that, and again, I don't know what, is it us? Is it us, the customer, asking for this stuff? Or I guess it must be, because these companies would not be investing in the campaign mode war game unless there was a demand. They wouldn't do it for shits and giggles. They must be doing it because they perceive there is a customer demand. And as I say, like David's just said, we need to back our ambitions off, because
when it comes to it,
because the other thing is like, not every product can be everything. Okay, it's perfectly okay to buy something, a game that has ambitions to deliver an experience, and that's all that game does. It delivers a particular type of experience. This is one of the this is a great example. This is one of the other thing that's wrong with 40k and Age of Sigmar. Games Workshop want Age of Sigmar and 40k to deliver every gaming experience to every player in the way that player wants it, and they want to define what that experience is in their products and their literature, instead of just leaving people to create their own ways to play the game, which is why you have open play, competitive play, narrative play, fucking what's it called, combat patrol, spearhead, blah,
Underworld.
fucking blah. Well, no, Underworlds is a separate game, but I mean, I'm just talking.
But it isn't, though, because it's linked to the fucking. It's linked, isn't it?
No, Underworlds is a board game.
But it still takes place in the AOS universe.
Yeah, but that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is like Age of Sigmar, because you've got Path to Glory, which is like the Combat Patrol equivalent. Is it Combat Patrol where you upgrade your units? Whatever that's called. You've got Path to Glory. You've got Spearhead, which mimics the buy the box, play the box thing. Then you've got open play, narrative play, matched play. And it's like each of those things has its own subset of missions and sub-rules and stuff like that. It's like, just fucking make a game, focus on making that game deliver the experience that you want it to deliver well, and then if people want to tinker with it and do something a little bit off the beaten path with it, let them work that shit out. The problem with these games is they've got their design team fucking pissing about with so many different little stupid ideas. There's no focus on just delivering one experience that works well. Just my 2 cents. Ewok says the Mantic Companion app is fantastic for Kings of War. To be fair, Ewok, I built my Armada list using the Mantic Companion app, and it gave me an error. It told me I could put an upgrade on my little mortar ship that I couldn't put on my little mortar ship when we checked on the main rules. So again, digital assets are fine, but they're subject to the same quality control issues that paper bonds are. If you issue fucking rule books that are full of errors and needed rattering or correcting as soon as they're printed, there's the same problem as a website that doesn't work particularly well. See what Ewok's saying for his time away. Being busy waiting for my MP in Clacton to answer my emails. The Warhammer games have for a while been designed by committee. It's like the beginning. Yeah. What, they deliberately did the salamanders wrong just to fucking mess with my head? You might have
No,
something
because
in that.
they fucked up the pirates as well.
Oh, there you go, you see. So there are, to be fair though, you've reported issues to them before and they're fairly quick about fixing it. As I say, again, computer games are computer games, tabletop games are tabletop games.
Stop crossing the streams.
I just think that there is.
I would like to round this out though.
Go on.
Is it just human nature and not necessarily PC game related? The reason I'm saying this is look at all the world building that Tolkien did. Look at all the world building that several other authors have done. Like, who's the fucking guy that did Hitchhikers? Guide to the Galaxy.
Fucking hell. Douglas Adams.
Yeah.
George Adams makes pies. Right surname, wrong Christian name.
But do you see my point? Is it that actually humans are very creative in nature, and you've given us a lot of toy soldiers to play with, and of course we're going to try and tell a story with them?
Yeah. It's like I said earlier, isn't it? That I think there is an element of it that's in human nature, because the same can happen when if you're a dungeon master who runs a role-playing game. There can be an ambition, or there can be a tendency to be over ambitious with your narratives, your whole game concept. You get a bit carried away. You start thinking, oh, what I'm going to do is create the next Game of Thrones for my players to play through. And it's like, it doesn't really work like that. That takes a superhuman level of ability to deliver. You might be better off keeping your ambitions smaller because, again, you're playing a role-playing game. You're not writing a novel. You're not making a film. And because I think this trap is there for people to fall into a lot. I think that it might be something that's instinctive within us, and it's not necessarily.
No, but again, this is what I'm just saying,
Yeah.
just as a devil's advocate to the entire rambling conversation we've had tonight. That actually, it's not just computer games.
No, it isn't. Well, I mean, again, we all watch films, we all read books, don't we, mate?
Yeah. Well, some of us don't.
I guess, yeah, reading books they don't do anymore. Ewok was playing Moonstone with his pirates.
I see your multi-award-winning Moonstone pirates. Fucking Ewok, I've commented on them. They are gorgeous, kind sir.
Where's he posted them? On OTT?
Facebook, Instagram.
I don't think I'm following Ewok on Insta.
In the multi-award-winning Moonstone fucking Facebook group.
Oh, right. Okay, so I'm not... Yeah, I'll have to join that then. Nice.
There was some hot
monkey on pug action. Yeah. That's another game we need to get to the table. I tell you what, I can show off for everybody at home. So I think we've got 5 minutes to go. I think we'll call that a wrap. So, in summary, campaign games or long linked campaign games work in very limited circumstances in tabletop gaming would be my argument. I think it's something that we all need to stop doing that designers need to stop putting this game mode into every single fucking product that is being made for tabletop gaming. I mean, Jesus Christ, there are even some role-playing games. Thinking of Call of Cthulhu and Arkham and Alien RPG by Free League. Even they don't particularly work well for campaigns because everybody dies all the fucking time. So there are even role-playing products where the game says, do you know what? Running discrete one-off adventures is the best way to experience this because everybody's going to die a lot. So don't get excited. And again, sometimes I think there is I don't think any war game should be ashamed of. You put your miniatures on the table, play the scenario we've set out for you. Did you enjoy that? Well done. That was the gaming experience we intended you to have. Don't be overly ambitious, designers. Is the takeaway, I think. Do you agree, mate? Or is there anything else?
Set the bar at a sensible and optimal level, and then take it from there.
Yeah. Is there anything you wanted to add?
I don't think so.
Right.
I think, as we've mentioned, digital does elements of this better, and again, lean on those assets to help you.
Yeah, and Cheese Me said way back up in the chat, everybody can scroll up, that even digital can do this badly. Cheese Me said when we first talked about it, a lot of the modern campaign role-playing game style computer, even AAA titles, you might have a core narrative that actually tells a coherent story beginning to end with character development and significant events. But a lot of the side mission shit and open world stuff is just busy work, isn't it? It's just like, do this, do that. There you go, 200 XP and 40 gold. It's like, even...
Just level grinding, isn't it?
Even those are sort of like faking it. So... you know, you don't necessarily want it in your and you know what, because again, like I say, more and more, it's like Blood Bowl. I prefer Blood Bowl. 1.5 million gold, let's just play the fucking game. Let's, you know, I don't like the league thing. It's too wonky. There's too much to go wrong. I remember Dark Omens. Now, Dark Omens, you see, but again, Darren, the computer does it better. You recruit a new unit. You know, you have casualties. This unit dies. It's like, let's let the computer handle all that. You just play Warhammer. Fucking awesome. Let's go to desktop. And I'll show people how I got on. So, because we've only got a couple of minutes. 3, 2, 1. You're back in the room. Right, everybody.
Fucking hell, these worms' eyes are unhinged.
No, I haven't, Ewok. Is that a miniatures war game, sir? So, I got my bases done. My mobile
looking very nice, sir.
My mobile is spazzing out. So, I'm quite happy with that. So that's Vallejo. Oh, I'm not so happy I've missed that base edge. That's annoying. I'm going to have to go back and touch that up again. But yeah, dark sea green with a stipple of blue-grey, I want to say.
Sounds about right. Sounds
so we're
like
just
my
gonna
recipe.
we're just gonna put the silicon on. We've got some of the bigger ones done as well. As I say, just to give the sea a little bit of a texture around the ship.
Would you fucking hell, bit bright. Would you like to come down to my desk cam, boys and girls?
Okay.
You got a half-hearted room in there, Paul.
Yeah. Typical. I can't even rim properly. Shocking. There we go.
So we've got some eyes painted. We've got a lot of metals done tonight as well. Started on landmines with Ewok's favourite colour.
Russian uniform.
And then got some helmeted girder guys.
Those models are great. I tell you what, it just goes show you, doesn't it? You just get a couple of colours on them, and it really starts to bring them to life.
Yeah.
Ewok saying there it's a digital game, it's a sandbox you can metagame the hell out of, just throwing it out there for digital and narrative gaming.
So
yeah.
At the moment, I'm painting the bulk stuff, the base stuff, and then it's going to be into all of the singles after, just because it's going to be easier that way. I'm just doing the batch paints. I mean, again, the eyes on this Uzi guy.
I did wonder whether you might find the eyes a little bit tricky, but you think the eyeballs and that should be quite easy?
Well, you can see him there, can't you? Just casting a little bit of shadow under his eyelids.
Yeah.
They should pick out quite nice.
Fucking hell, the rooming gag. Oh dear. Yeah. Moving swiftly on.
I mean, the fucking landmine guy's eyes are completely unhinged. I've only just painted these white, so that's why they're a bit lacking in crispness and detail. Now, the only other question I have for boys and girls before we round up for tonight is, do I paint the teeth the same colour as the eyes? Answers on a postcard, please.
Well, what have you used for the eyes?
White grey.
I would use a slightly yellowish white, something like ivory. If it were me, something that's got more of a cream hue so that you get differentiation. If you use the same colour, it might not look right.
Yeah. I know what you mean, mate. And then afterwards,
because you've got off-white, you've got ivory. What else have you got here? We've got
silver grey.
Well, the thing is, that's the same as what you've used, which is like a more of a bluey white, isn't it? Rather than a cream white. I for tooth enamel, I'd go creamier, yellower rather than bluer.
Yeah.
Copy the art from the video game, says Darren. That's not bad advice.
I think to be fair, with the art from the video game.
Do you see Ewok? Ewok says, do Vallejo do Norfolk teeth colour in the new range? Out the do.
I mean, there you go on the art book. They're the same.
Yeah, they are. But to be fair, that doesn't look great against that background.
White.
Try a test model, see how it looks.
But yeah, fuck, moved you right out of the way, boys and girls. But yeah, I'm really enjoying these. They're actually nice to paint. They're a breeze because there's not a lot to them.
And you're really hammering out. It'll be great for you to get such a big project for like that done and under your belt, wouldn't it?
Well, I actually haven't finished board game.
Well, I wasn't trying to be sarcastic. I was just saying that I think the satisfaction from getting that finished is going to be massive. And because again, I find that it's like I recently finished my Wild West Exodus, and getting these miniatures finished has given me the lift to just plow on straight into the Armada. So these are all based and done. You can't really tell because it's too small and dark, but the only thing they need is a touch of varnish, just to protect them. But I mean, it's
That is one thing I will be doing to these board game minis is varnishing the shit out of them
Yeah, I
because grubby child's hands.
Yeah, you need to, I think, for board game. Khaki grey. I've got a feeling that is virtually green, isn't it? Is that?
I think they're taking the piss, and that's Norfolk tea.
Yeah, it's sort of like it's basically like a sandstone colour. Yeah, they're definitely taking the piss. Right, okay, let's wrap it up, guys. Let's call it a night. Fantastic to have everybody here with us in the chat. They're the heroes and the stars of the show. We were just fortunate enough to be able to host their platform so that they could entertain everybody on the internet for the night. Thank you very much if you are watching along later at YouTube. In YouTube land, we appreciate it. If you can only find time to
get back in your box.
if you can only find time to do one thing tonight, then please click the like button. Quick tip: when you're doing the outro, don't get distracted by the chat and the madness, because that'll be bad. So if you can only find time to do one thing, just click the like button. That's all that we ask for. That little bit of interaction helps us with the algorithm a little bit. Obviously, if you can do the other YouTubey stuff, then that's bloody brilliant as well. Particularly if you can give us a shout out on your own channel. Thank you very much for that. Joy of Wargaming, I think it was. But until next week, have a great week of gaming. Get some fucking hobby done. And don't forget to practice your rimming.